$400,000. That is what Wall Street pays you to stay. A Goldman desk, a badge on a blue lanyard, and you are about to quit Wall Street to buy the businesses it ignores. Laundromats. Rows of coin machines in a strip mall the desk would never look at twice. You think this is a story about walking away from money. It is not. By the end, you own a whole route. Almost every analyst leaves that desk within 2 years. Almost none of them ever leave finance. The machine you walk out on does not lose your number. It waits. It just changes what it wants from you. Level 1. The analyst. You are good at this. That is the trap. You are very good at this. You build models nobody asked for. You catch errors 3 tabs deep. You come in before the light. You leave after it. Your all-in comp is $400,000. On paper, you won. Everyone from your town thinks you won. Here is what $400,000 actually buys. It buys a seat. It does not buy the thing the seat makes. You move billions across a screen. You never touch a dollar of it. You model a company. Someone else buys the company. You get a bonus and a handshake and a new deck by Monday. You are the smartest person in the building, and you own nothing. They dangle one word to keep you. Carry. A slice of the fund's profit. Yours in 7 years. Maybe. If the fund performs. If you are still in the chair. Carry is a lottery ticket that vests. You start to hate the word. There is a guy 2 seats down. You call him the lifer. He has been an associate for 9 years. He talks about carry like a religion. He has a spreadsheet of what it will be worth. He updates it on slow nights. You watch him do it once. You realize you are looking at your own future, and it is a man refreshing a number that has not arrived. One night you are modeling a roll-up. Boring stuff. Route-based businesses. Trash routes. Vending. Coin laundry. You build the returns, and the returns are obscene. The fund is buying tiny cash machines nobody respects, buying them cheap, stacking them into routes. The old men who built those little businesses sell for a number that makes you sit back in your chair. You stare at the model a long time. You are on the wrong side of it. You are paid to find the machine. You are not allowed to own the machine. You just point at it and hand it to someone richer. The model spits out a number. The fund puts in $10 million. In 5 years it is worth 25. 2.5 times the money. Off coin laundry. Off quarters. You built the page that proves it. Your bonus for building it would not buy 1 laundromat in the deck. You have not quit yet, but the door is already open, in a room you have stood in for years. You just have not seen it. Level 2. The resignation. You do the math on yourself first. That is the analyst's disease. You model your own life like a deal. $400,000 a year. After tax, a little over 200. Rent in the city takes a third. The carry may never come. 7 years of your one life, rented to a desk, for a maybe. Then you model the other thing. A single coin laundry. It nets $78,000 a year. You could buy one for around $250,000. Put down 55. The bank lends the rest on an SBA loan. After the loan payment, about $46,000 lands in your account. 46 on 55 down. That is a cash-on-cash return of 84% in year 1. Money you actually keep. You read the 2 numbers side by side. 400,000 that feels like nothing. 46,000 that feels like yours. And you understand the whole game in one breath. It was never about how much. It was about how much you owned. You think about the lifer and his spreadsheet. 9 years, refreshing a number that has not arrived. You do not want to be a man who owns a spreadsheet of a maybe. You want to own a thing that hums. You quit on a gray Tuesday. You expected thunder. There is none. Your MD says 3 sentences. He asks if you have another offer. You say no. You say laundromats. He laughs. Not cruelly. He just cannot hold the word in his head next to your name. You take off the badge, the blue lanyard, the plastic card with the bad photo. You set it in the little tray by security. 31 months of your life, returned in one soft click. The guard does not look up. You walk out onto the street. You own nothing now but time and $55,000, and a first machine waiting 3 miles away that has no idea you are coming. Level 3. The first laundromat. His name is Sal. He built the place over 31 years, the same number as your months at the desk. You notice that. He does not. Sal is 70. His knees are done. He knows every regular by the load. The nurse who runs 3 dryers before a night shift. The old man who folds 1 shirt for 10 minutes because home is quiet. Sal has no kid who wants it. Buyers for places like his almost never come. 4 out of 5 simply close one day. A life's work behind a paper sign on the door. You are the buyer who came. You walk the floor with a notebook. The analyst is still in you. 30 washers, 20 dryers, a coin changer that clunks like an old car door. You count the turns. A washer sitting still earns nothing. A washer running 12 loads a day is a small oil well. Half of Sal's machines are dead. He never had the cash to fix them. You see it instantly. Half the oil wells are capped. You buy it. $55,000 down, $200,000 from the bank, 10 years. Sal signs with a hand that has fed quarters for 3 decades. Then he slides a coffee can across the counter. It is heavy. It is full of quarters. Starter change, he says. Every laundromat runs on a can like this. Then Sal does the thing you do not expect. He asks if you will keep the nurse's dryer free when the machine eats her coins. He is not negotiating price. He is negotiating her. You say yes. He nods once. Like that was the real deal all along. You stand alone in the place that night. The dryers hum down to silence. The fluorescent light buzzes. It smells of warm lint and cheap detergent. You own it. Every quarter in the walls is yours now. You feel enormous. You feel terrified. It is the same feeling. You open the doors yourself the next morning. The nurse comes in at 7. She does not know you own it now. She feeds her machine. It eats her quarters again. You wave her to a working dryer on the house. She looks at you the way she used to look at Sal. You just inherited more than a building. You inherited her. The spreadsheet said 84%. The spreadsheet did not mention the water on the floor at 2 in the morning. Level 4. The operator. An analyst finds the machine. An operator has to become it. The first month humbles you. A dryer belt snaps. You learn to replace it yourself, on the floor, at midnight, with a video propped against the coin changer. The coffee can is the whole economy now. You empty machines by hand. You count coins until your fingers smell of metal for a day. You wash your hands twice. The smell stays. Then the water comes. A supply line lets go at 2 in the morning. The alarm on your phone is a regular calling you. There is an inch of water across the floor. $14,000 of damage by the time it stops. 2 machines dead. That week, the account reads $800. You sit in the wet fluorescent light. You still have the number in your phone. Your old MD. 1 text, and you could ask for the chair back. He would take you. That is the worst part. He would take you back in a week. You do not text him. You mop. You fix. You reopen the next morning like nothing happened. The nurse comes in for her dryers. You keep one free. Sal's term. And in the fixing, you find the thing business school never taught you. You go to pull a permit for a new drain line. The clerk almost laughs. The city stopped writing water and sewer permits for laundromats years ago. Too much load. Too much waste. Nobody gets a new hookup anymore. You sit with that in the parking lot, and it lands slow. Nobody can build a laundromat next to yours. Not a richer man. Not a smarter one. The pipes in your floor were grandfathered in decades ago. They can never be copied. The moat is not a brand. The moat is not you. The moat is a pipe in the ground the city will never permit again. You bought a monopoly and did not even know it. You start to see the whole town differently now. Every laundromat is a quiet fortress. The men who own them are old and tired. Most do not know what they are sitting on. You know. The desk trained you to read exactly this. You just never thought you would aim it at quarters. So you raise the turns. You fix every dead machine. You add wash and fold. Utilization climbs. Soon the place nets 105,000 a year, not 78. The capped wells are pumping again. One night you do the count. The place now pays you more in a month than your old Goldman paycheck did. Not the bonus, the paycheck, the number you actually lived on. You wait for the firework. It does not come. It is just a Tuesday. Quarters in a bag on the passenger seat. You feel almost nothing at all, and you understand that the number was never going to be the feeling. You have learned to run one. Now a broker calls. A man across town wants out. 3 more laundromats in a bundle, and you are the only buyer in the city who already knows the pipes are the whole point. Level 5. The route. 1 laundromat is a job. 4 is a machine that runs without you. You buy the 3. You do not overpay. You buy them the way the fund taught you, on your side of the table now. Each nets around 70,000. Bundled, the seller takes a discount to be done in one clean deal. You let him. Multiple arbitrage, the desk called it. Small things bought one by one are cheap. The same things stacked into a route are worth more together than apart. 4 laundromats, 1 route, 1 van. 1 repair guy named Marcus who used to fix these machines for Sal. 1 coffee can of quarters, much bigger now. You buy a second can, then a third. Marcus knows the machines by their sound. He can hear a bad bearing from the door. He fixed them for Sal for 11 years, on an hourly wage. You put him on a share of the route instead. He works harder for a slice of the thing than he ever did for a paycheck. You understand that too now. You lived it at the desk. You stop touching the machines yourself. You build a route sheet, collection days, turn counts per store. A dashboard, the old habit, but this time it is yours and nobody else's. The route nets close to 280,000 a year, after Marcus takes his share. Real money. Money that shows up in a drawer, not a maybe in 7 years. Then you do the move the desk never let you do for yourself. You refinance. You fix the machines. You raise the turns. The route appraises now at $1.4 million. The bank writes a new loan against the higher value. You pull out $310,000 in cash, tax-free, because a loan is not income, more than a Goldman year ever left in your account, handed to you for signing 1 page, and you still own every machine on the route. You sit in the van with a check that took the desk a full year of your life to match. It took the route 1 signature. You think you have finally beaten them. You think you got out clean. You have not. You just do not know it yet. Then the phone rings. A private equity fund. They have been rolling up laundromat routes across 3 states. They want yours. And when they say the name of who backs them, you go very still in the driver's seat. Level 6. The owner who left. You look up the fund that night. You read the financing all the way down, and you find your desk. The bank you quit is on the other side of the check. The same building, maybe the same floor. The carry you never waited for is still being paid, to men still in those chairs. And part of it now comes from buying the exact thing you built to get away from them. You did not escape the machine. You walked out of the building, and it followed you across town, patient, into a strip mall, holding your old badge, waiting for the day your little route grew worth buying. You think about Sal. He left the day you signed. He did not look back at the machines. He looked at you. Then he walked into the parking lot and did not turn around once. He was the owner who left. Now the fund wants to make you into one too. A number, a route on their sheet, a tuck-in acquisition, 3 states from the desk. You think about the badge in the tray, the soft click, 31 months returned to a guard who did not look up. You thought turning it in was the end of them. It was just the start of a longer game. The badge still opens that door. You are only standing on the other side of it now, holding a coffee can of quarters, being appraised.
Sal kept the nurse's dryer free. That was his last term at the table. Not the price, the person. You realize you have been running the place his way the whole time. The fund on the phone does not have a term like that. The fund has a model. You used to build it. You know exactly what your route looks like inside it. A line, a multiple, a machine that does not know the nurse's name. You do not answer the fund yet. You sit in the van in the dark. The quarters shift when you breathe. You quit Wall Street to own something with your hands. And Wall Street put on a patient face and followed you into the laundromat, holding the badge you thought you gave back, ready to buy the freedom you built out of coins. Somewhere right now, a young analyst is modeling a roll-up. Route-based businesses, coin laundry.
Boring little cash machines. The returns are obscene. He is on the wrong side of the model, and he does not know it yet. He will. They always do. The desk does not stop. It just finds the next one who thinks that quitting is the same as leaving. The badge opened every door on the floor. It turned out there was no door that led out. There were only doors that led further in. Watch this if you want the other road, the one where you never quit at all. Your life as a Goldman Banker set against the startup founder you could have become instead.